here that everybody can collect. But we also have 20 special, very, very limited edition. So it's double limited edition, a smaller block size, if you will, that we will be auctioning off. Or you can, $20 and up, anything you can give for those special ones, we're going to give to the Hijas del Mar. And to this point, I'll be giving away a few tickets to Bitcoin 2022. So Dread is the, we're live now? All right. So given in El Zante for Bitcoin Week in El Salvador. Here's Dread. Dread. Okay, just so you see, Dread's from Jamaica. Do you see sweat on him? No. Do you see sweat on me? Yeah. I'm melting. Just me. You must Photoshop out my sweat and give me some nice puffy hair. It was puffy just like 10 minutes ago. You are my witness. Dread, welcome.
Tell him. Tell him. Well, I mean, this is cool. I'm cool now, I guess.
Wow. So you just wrote a piece.
Bitcoin Beach in the first place. So when I went down there, a lot of the things I did here were with Bitcoin Beach. So that's really I centered around it. I didn't really go to San Salvador until maybe the second or third trip here. So that's my travel experience for everyone to know.
So how many times have you come here to El Zante, and have you noticed over that course of time a change?
Oh my God, yeah. I was just trying to figure out, okay, these guys are doing something with Bitcoin, so let me figure out how I can do the same thing back at home. And I talked to the people and they were all hush-hush, and I didn't know why. But, then they announced legal tender in El Salvador. So I came back, maybe 2 months ago? I came back again a couple months later, and I realized there's things happening. This place is growing, this place is changing. It's not just a couple people trying to make a circular economy, not couple, but a whole community. It's more like the world has taken interest, and you can see everything changing. And for the better and for the worst, I was like, oh my God, it was such a nice, it reminded me of home. Like I have a place at home called Long Bay, Jamaica. And this place reminded me of that. It was like home again. And now it's like an improved version of home without you guys here.
Yeah, a huge influx of Bitcoiners to the space. They love all the money coming in and just the energy, right? Like it's a good positive energy here. So did this have any ripple effect through the region? We spoke to Carlinho from Ibex Mercado, and he said that the media in Guatemala is not really covering it. Like, have you seen any, like Jamaica or any countries within the whole Caribbean region, even though this isn't actually Caribbean, it's close enough. It's Central America.
I feel like there's pockets of information everywhere. Like there's a certain set of people in Jamaica that are noticing. There's a certain set of people in every country that's noticing. And so, within the circles I am in, I've seen that change. But, it hasn't rippled outside of those circles yet, but it's slowly happening, yeah.
Well, certainly the IMF noticed, and certainly with the IMF. Do you expect that sort of, once they start, once one nation...
Not at all. I thought, but then I wasn't thinking correctly because I didn't think of all the factors that would stop a nation from doing it. I thought it would be like Nigeria, bending to the pressure of all the young people there that are forcing the economy to be in Bitcoin. And it wasn't, it was here. So I was like, wow, okay, so I'm looking at this completely wrong. It's the very, the much smaller, easier, nimbler economies that will shift first.
Now you're writing basically travel guides around in Bitcoin Magazine and their various print editions that are coming up. One thing that I had tweeted, and I was retweeted by President Bukele, and I said that never in my wildest Fiat dreams did I expect to ever come to El Salvador, and yet here I am, right, because of Bitcoin. That's what Hyperbitcoinization looks like. I did not expect it to ever taste like pupusas, but there we are.
I was hoping jerk chicken, but here we are.
Yeah, but it wasn't, right? It was pupusas. And I had my very first pupusa tonight. Everybody else? Did you get one? I had pupusas in America. Well, that's what they called it. It was a lie. It was fake pupusa, worse than fake news. It was disinformation. I didn't know that shit was not real. This is the real stuff. Yeah, this is real stuff. So, I mean, part of the reason why I never thought I would come here is the media and how violent they say everything is really violent and it's dangerous. And I was so scared, like, what are we doing? Are we going to be like horrible stuff? But it's like paradise, right?
It really is. And I've heard at so many places I've gone to. I've gone to Lapa, Brazil. Oh, don't go there, it's dangerous. No, it's fine. You know, I've gone in different places in Jamaica. Oh, don't go there. This place is a gem, and, you know, soon people will realize what it really is and appreciate it for that.
I mean, when you drive up here, you saw so many people on the side of the road, right, selling all sorts of stuff. And everybody, like the warmest faces, right? Everybody just had a nice smile on their face. And it's nice, right? So are you planning on like hanging out here for a while, or everybody's like buying citadels here? I've noticed being built all over the place. By the way, everybody come here to El Zante, to Bitcoin Beach, because you will be welcomed. And fuck you if you didn't come here already.
All over the world, but this place will always be a home to me. You know, this place is where I came before everything happened, and I felt like I was home. So I'll be back for sure. But I'm going to be leaving in probably a week or so.
Yeah, right. So, thank you for joining us up on this stage. It was really fun to talk to you, and I guess we're going to take No Fucks Given to Jamaica.
Yes, we are.
Because every No Fucks party we have, it has like a unique thing. Obviously in Austin, Texas, we had the barbecue in Phoenix. Okay, well, Phoenix doesn't have any unique food. We had tacos. I mean, we should have had them in Mexico.
Good weather.
It had good weather.
Yep. Jerk chicken.
And rum?
Lots of rum. Appleton. Definitely Appleton.
Yeah. Okay, well, you know, El Salvador doesn't have their own, it doesn't have a sort of mojito or a margarita. It doesn't have a drink like that. I guess you need kind of tourists, right? Like you need a tourist sort of industry to come up with a fake drink for tourists.
Like this tourist industry right here.
Yeah. We could be the change we want to be. We could come up with a drink of our own right here for El Salvador. What do you think about that? Yeah. Why not?
Bitcoinita?
Bitcoinita? Yeah. Well, you know, I drove up here from the airport in La Bitcoinita. You know that Bitcoin van? At like 30 miles an hour the whole time. I was like, every single car passed us. The cows walked past us. Like everything walked past us. It was interesting. So, is Stefan Lavera in the house yet? Yes, okay. So, on to the stage next, replacing, but nobody can really replace Dread, is Stefan Lavera. I hear him down there. He is a Bitcoin podcaster as well. Make sure you check out Dread's podcast as well, One Love. Yeah.
OneLoveBitcoin.com.
Yeah. So, thank you, Dread. Dread is the one, by the way, who really pushed us to come here to Palo Verde. He said this is the best spot in El Zonte. Where's Stefan Lavera? I already heard him shouting. Yeah, he's here. Hello, where's Stefan Lavera? Okay. Well, okay, Paco, Stefan Lavera is apparently down there. Tish is shouting loudly, saying he's down here. So if somebody can go run down there. Again, you know, everybody go follow me on Twitter at Stacy Herbert, and you'll find a Bitcoin joining us on stage is Stefan Lavera, the one and only Bitcoin podcaster. He's also with swanbitcoin.com, so we all work together there. Here is your microphone.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, look, he even has an official. We didn't make him wear this. We didn't make him wear an official badge saying he's a Bitcoin podcaster. And
oh, this was from adopting Bitcoin. But yeah, thank you very much for having me. Yeah.
Again, from Australia, been spending time in Sri Lanka. And look at him, look at me. Yet another person that is making me look like a sweaty, tropical, like, hag, right? Like, I'm melting. You're not.
I was built for the heat, you know? I'm just used
You
to
have
it.
like a jacket and jeans on, and he's not breaking a sweat.
I came straight from the emceeing the conference, all right? Otherwise, I wouldn't have been wearing this, all right? This is just, you know, I was up there presenting, so I had to look the part. So, although it is a Bitcoin conference, so you can kind of, you know, we tend to be a bit more open to just kind of be as you are and just accept people, and rather than trying to do the whole like dress up and thing. So,
but it goes his own way. Like everybody else is dressing down, he's dressing up. So tell us everybody, because we're out here in Zante. I know the president just said like this is Woodstock 2.0. But of course, everybody knows nobody in Bitcoin is getting a girlfriend until 100,000. So.
Correct. No one here has a girlfriend, so that's right.
Nope. None of us are getting girlfriends until 100,000. So what was the mood there? Because, you know, as old-timers in this space, we're used to 10% drops. It's like no big deal.
I don't understand. Like, I was having a quick look on Twitter on the way down. I was just like, oh, what the... Everyone's, like, losing their shit about it. Come on, guys. What is this?
No fucks given here, man.
Jeez, what is this nonsense? What are you? Don't be a wuss. It's like... Please, anyone who's been around a long time, they've been through multiple 80% drawdowns. Stacy has been through that.
That's why I look like this, though.
Probably been through 3 80% drawdowns.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been through 2. So imagine that. And if you're not okay with that, well, you're not...
For people who are new into the space, we could say that jaded now. But we did cry into our pillows for,
That's right.
for the meme being like just the funniest memes about how they've lost everything and that they have to get a job at McDonald's, and that like gives me the giggles every time.
Or the classic, you know, the XRP meme with the McDonald's shirt and the tattoos and the, you know, that's the other one. That's like a 2017, 2018 and stuff on like Bitcoin Reddit and things like that. I mean, of course, nowadays I don't think that's you know, that's the thing. I think now it's more like we'll have these little drops along the way up, and I'm excited.
Well, I mean, that's a good point because, so those memes in 2013, 14, 15, because I've been talking about the evolution of Bitcoin as this kind of network that draws in people in a way almost like an evolutionary way in that, so the first years, 2009, 10, 11, you know, Bitcoin was mostly geeks, hackers, nerds. And geeks, hackers, nerds were needed in those first few months and years because that's when the flaws in the code would be exposed. And of course, the geeks can't stop themselves from fixing the code, right? But they don't think of hard money. They didn't think of this. Had they thought in those early days, like, wow, this is going to be worth $60,000 in 10 years, they would have never sold it. They would have never given it away. They would never like given it away in faucets. But had they not done that, then it wouldn't be worth what it is because the network wouldn't have been built. So it's like Bitcoin was designed in those early days to attract them. Then the outlaws came, those who couldn't access the US dollar fiat settlement layer around the world, those who were not allowed banking services or Visa, MasterCard, like the online porn, online gambling, online hip markets, I don't know, things like that. So all these outlaws were drawn to it. Again, dispersing the Bitcoin all around the world to all the people who were already ready for it. Like, because you're an outlaw, you're already ready to not like abide by Uncle Sam and his system, right? And then, you know, even like when you saw that Michael Saylor rejected it in 2013. You know, Bitcoin wasn't ready for a billionaire in 2013.
Yeah, no, I mean, at that time, no. I mean, there were probably some billionaires who maybe took a little speculative play, but not to sort of come out actively, proactively, trying to advocate and teach people and get people in. I mean, it was just a different thing. And I guess it's interesting because some people in the space are very, I don't know, you see different comments in the space, right? So some people are like, oh, why are you like being so cheering on these billionaires and these like governments and whatever who are coming in. I think the other perspective is more just like it was inevitable. They were coming. They were just going to come anyway. But maybe the rejoinder would be, hey, you shouldn't be cheerleading it. You should just be like, all right, fine, you fiat people, like you know, fine, you're gonna use this thing, but you know, we're not going to be cheerleading you for it. So Yeah, maybe that's one way to put it. But it is interesting as well, Stacey, the point you make around just the change in the attitudes and the understanding, right? Because in the early days, it really was very much of a free-flowing spending thing, and it was kind of more OG. I'm not around as long, but I was coming in sort of late 2012, early 2013, and I remember then there was almost this attitude of like, oh, just pay a miner fee to tip the miners, right? Just tip them. That used to be a thing, whereas nowadays it's very. And back then, this whole idea that, you know, like, I don't know if who here knows my friend Catan? Who knows Catan? All right, a few of you know Catan. Or know of. Okay, not a huge number, but Catan, my mate, he's big on this idea of when he pays his Bitcoin transactions, he pays 1 sat per byte. And he's tweeted out 1 sat per byte forever. He's going to die on this hill. But you know what? Back in 2013, it was just not a normal thing at all. Like, it was like you would, in Bitcoin terms, people were paying massive, massive fees. Whereas nowadays, people are trying to like be more cautious about how much fee they're putting into their transactions. So it's just a different kind of culture and attitude that people have to spending Bitcoin.
But it was needed, I think, because if you didn't spend your Bitcoin at that point, it wouldn't have dispersed. It wouldn't have been distributed all over the world in the way that it was. We were like outlaw media, right? Yeah. Max and Stacy and Keiser Report. So outlaw media, like we were outside the corporate, we weren't CNBC, we weren't Bloomberg, and therefore a lot more people that were the right people to hear the message, heard the message.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's like this idea of seeding it more into those groups of people who were maybe more aligned with the vision and the values of it, and they were more aligned to sort of see this thing through, to sort of go die on the proverbial hill for it. You know, people who are going to go and fight for it to preserve it, especially in times like 2017 and stuff. The right kind of people who are just going to go and fight it. But these different, like, when you're using things like maybe they're not well documented or people lost coins. I mean, I lost coins on different, like when I was a noob and didn't know, you know, not your key. Like, this is before Andreas had popularized not your keys, not your coins. So you're playing around with these different amount, and I lost like multiple coins on some custodial wallets that I thought, oh, okay, maybe I'll just keep a little bit on this thing because I wasn't really sure. And I had like Armory wallet, which is like an offline. So you have like the offline computer and the online computer, and that was like the old school hardware wallet before Trezor and Ledger and things like that, right? So
we were in the days of QT wallet, so you had to download the whole blockchain, and it blew up your computer and your internet money back then. So it didn't seem like a big deal to lose like $100, like 100 Bitcoin. You're like, oh well, fuck it, you know. I've lost that much on drinks at night. I bought that much in drinks, right? But so, you know, we have the first nation state now arrive, and you know, Nayib Bukele, he's like what, late 20s, early 30s.
I think he's late 30s, or maybe 39, 40, around there. Yeah.
So he comes in like a Bitcoin troll, like right away, like this. Like, I got this from Dread. He just picked it up in Ukraine. So,
that's awesome.
Toxic maximalist. Like, he comes in like totally toxic, right?
That's awesome.
He hits the ground running. Like, no polite niceties and all that stuff. No fucks given, as you can say. And so your background, you're an Austrian economist. You focus on economics and hard money. So what do you expect to happen here in El Salvador with hard money? What happens to an economy, a society?
We'll start using Bitcoin, and maybe at the start it'll be a little bit more of a gambling thing. It'll be perceived that way. Of course, we all understand Bitcoin is hard money and savings technology, and you stack sats and you hodl as much as you can, but that's not always easy for people in El Salvador, and I can understand. I have cousins in Sri Lanka, right? So it's also, you can understand that I'm like, oh yeah, stack as much as you can, and they're kind of like, well, look, Stefan, we don't really make that much money. Like, we can't necessarily save because we're kind of living more closer to that subsistence level. So it is going to be an interesting thing to see, but I think it'll just be like everyone has to go through those cycles, right? You have to all feel your first sort of crazy euphoria of a bull cycle. Which I think we're probably going to enter that in the next few months, if I had to guess. All right, if I'm a gambling man, I think we're going to hit that euphoria in the next few months, and you're not ready for that. No, you're just like, unless you've already been through it, you're just going to be like, oh wow, every day I'm just like getting richer and richer. Oh, wow, how crazy is this? Of course. So until you've kind of gone through that crazy euphoria and then gone through the drop, you know, for me, that's how I'm seeing it. So.
But I'm also thinking, like, you know, when you look at human history for the last few thousand years, there are moments of, like, the Renaissance, the Enlightenment, and, so in Florence, you wonder, like, how the fuck do you have it was only, like, 30,000 people there after the plague took away, like, half the population. And you're like, okay, Michelangelo, Da Vinci, like Botticelli, like all walk around the fucking street. Like there you had like certain ingredients come together. So when you're looking at Bitcoin Twitter this week during hashtag Bitcoin Week here in El Salvador, you're just like, your mind is like being blown, right? Because you're like, oh my God, here's like Bitcoin core devs, like the smartest brains in Bitcoin at some pupusa stand, helping them set up their Lightning wallet, or like looking in the back end to see what the Chivo wallet is, and you're like, oh my God, if they only knew like who is helping them set this up. Like it feels like it might attract, because human capital is the most important, right, for any great, when you're looking back through history of economics and culture and history, that they're the most important ingredient.
Yeah, well, it took a certain level, a certain amount of skill, ingenuity, work, and savings, right? Capital accumulation, right? That you had to make more than you were consuming and stock that away. And over time, that creates the capital stock of society, and that capital accumulation is what creates the massive, massive wealth that we see in countries like the US and others. And I think these things it really just takes time, and people having that appreciation and that ability to delay their gratification. So I think that's a really big factor. But of course, even I think it is really funny in a way that we go to some of these conferences and you'll see a panel with like all these like really high level Bitcoin developers or Lightning developers, or you'll see just all these people who have like very high importance or relevance to that system, to the system. And so yeah, just kind of. It sort of makes you sort of zoom out and think. It also reminds me of this story I heard. I think it was. I think like Andreas was was setting up to take ice cream in Berlin, and he had no idea that because Andreas wasn't big noting himself at all. So
everybody's like, "Hey, that's Max Keiser."
That's awesome.
Like when we're driving around the road. So that was fun. We're gonna while Max comes, I want to remind everybody we are we've raised, let me check, actually. Let me check the latest balance. Because on my Twitter, you can find the balance for the IHAS Damar.
There he
Okay,
is.
okay.
There he is.
Max Keiser.
All right.
Let's do
it! Woo! Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
I feel the ocean! I feel the volcanoes! We've got our own nation state now! We've got our own nation state now! Bitcoin is legal tender, y'all, right here in El Salvador. It's the beginning of a revolution right here in this region. All the other countries will fall. All the dominoes will fall. Then we're going to see the global hash war erupt. Already in the Ukraine, they're saying, you know what, we need Bitcoin too because we're a victim of sanctions. We're a victim of all kinds of shit. Same thing in Ukraine. They want to do it over there. That'll trigger Russia. Russia will say, we can't let Ukraine get rich as fuck. We need some Bitcoin. And then the United States is going to say, wait a minute, this is the Cold War all over again. It's the space race all over again. We got to hash Bitcoin too. Global hash war. Of course, that only adds to the security. And of course, that only makes the number go higher. And of course, it makes everyone here get fucking richer and richer. More money, more money, more money, more money, more wealth. Unconfiscatable wealth. It's wealth that can't be censored. And that changes people. It's just not about having a lot of money, is it? It's about having individual sovereignty. It's about having the ability to say to the state,
We've got something that's operating outside of you. You are the state. We've got something that's outside of the state. So what happens to the state? The state withers. The state falls. The central banks fall. And with that comes a new beginning, a new realization, a new birth, a new way of thinking about things. Because remember, you don't change Bitcoin. That's right. That's absolutely right. That's 100% right. What's happening down there? Have you all been orange-pilled? Have you all been orange-pilled? Who needs an orange pill? Who wants to get orange pill? Yeah, baby, more orange pill. Suck it up. Take it in. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's right. All righty. So because here in El Salvador we've got a lot of volcanoes, this is great to make sacrifices into the volcano. Jamie Dimon, he goes into the volcano, right? I mean, I guess I'll have to do my Jamie Dimon the tapeworm impression. I crawl out of the people's assholes and steal their money. All right, enough for Jamie Dimon. We got Nouriel Rubini. He goes into the volcano, right? No, you love Nouriel? What's wrong with you people? What's wrong with you people? How about Paul Krugman of the New York Times, who recently just said this week he was completely wrong about inflation? Did you read that? He said, I was completely wrong about inflation. He was completely wrong about the internet. He was completely wrong about Bitcoin. He's completely wrong about inflation. How does this guy keep a job? Anybody can write better economics. Stefan Lavera should be the new economics editor of the New York Times. Get rid of Paul Krugman. Who else is going into the volcano? Peter Schiff. He's going to be... We're going to set up a rotisserie spit. Skewer Schiff and gently roast him. Roasting this Peter Schiff. He's completely wrong. A video just emerged where he actually says he actually doesn't own that much gold. Again, why does Zero Hedge quote this guy? He's got the worst track record of anybody in the last 20 years. If I were a client of this guy, I would be absolutely broke. Here's some factoids to keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Keep this all in mind. Gold enforces war. Fiat money enforces slavery. Bitcoin enforces peace. We all agreed on that? Think about it. Fiat money is hate. Fiat money is the Pentagon. Fiat money is half my taxes. Fiat money goes to all the war machines. Fiat money went into that $85 billion worth of war. Shows me one of those. I paid for it. You left it in Kabul. I'd like mine, please, and I direct it right at Peter Schiff. You don't change Bitcoin, Bitcoin changes you. You don't fix Bitcoin. That's right. All will capitulate. All will capitulate. Let's get into El Salvador because this is really something fantastic that's happening right here. And it's led by President Bukele, who is a master at Twitter. So he has made the following tweets, which I am absolutely gobsmacked by. Discount is ending thanks to the dip, IMF. We saved $1 million in printed paper. El Salvador, IMF, the International Monetary Fund. That's another one of these global banking elites. That's another one of these folks that are threatened by Bitcoin. These are another ensemble, another cartel, another central banking consortium, another factor, another brick in the wall of those who somehow think that it's okay to print money. As Warren Buffett said recently, we get to print money. 40%, 50% of all the money created last 5 or 6 months. That's all they ever do. They see a problem, they print money. There's no problem that can't be solved by printing money. What does that do to the value of the currency? What does that do to the value of my purchasing power? What happens to my purchasing power? What happens to it? It gets destroyed. And what do they call that? That's inflecular. Is it going to go away? Is it real? Is it happening? Is inflation going to fuck us up the ass? How do we protect ourselves? With Bitcoin. That's right. Woo, I made it. That's right, Bitcoin. And also, Kelly just recently tweeted this. Bitcoin is being powered by beauty. Powered by beauty. This man in the IMF, independence from the Federal Reserve Bank. And he's a man who understands the beauty of Bitcoin, the aesthetic of beauty. Bitcoin is the Sistine Chapel of money. When you look at it, you cannot help but be transformed by it because it is one of the most beautiful objects, beautiful things ever created. And there it is. And it has the impact of changing everything in ourselves and therefore changing everything around us. This is also, to put this into context, I want to take a little political side trip here. In particular, relating to El Salvador in this region and relating to Bitcoin. When El Salvador announced that they were going to go to a Bitcoin legal tender, you saw immediate panic. The U.S. immediately blacklisted Central American officials as part of a, quote, corruption crackdown. El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala. Victoria Nuland, quote, El Salvador needs to be, quote, responsible about Bitcoin adoption. We're taking a tough look. Victoria Nuland. Now, this is the same woman who staged a coup in Ukraine. And when Ukraine put in a puppet that she didn't agree with, Europe, she said, fuck Europe. This woman's a nasty bitch. She's a high-up official in the United States. And she doesn't have the right to have an opinion about what El Salvador does with their money if they want to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. The United States has overthrown 15 Latin American countries. Like I'm an American and I got the US dollar, or that might be problematic. A lot of Americans are thinking, oh, wow, that sounds like could be trouble for my money, for my dollars. And it is big trouble. If you're an American and you don't have a hedge against what's coming, with the rest of the world opting out of the U.S. dollars, you're in big, you're going to be flat out broke. You're going to be destitute. You're going to be homeless. More than the already homeless population problem that we have is going to be exacerbated by the complete collapse of fiat money and its purchasing power due to the fact that countries are opting out. Latin America, El Salvador, is just the beginning, the tip of the spear. As I mentioned before, Ukraine is on board, and all across Africa. Africa is freaking hyper-Bitcoinization. Nigeria, 30% of Nigeria is now Bitcoin. And they use Bitcoin, and it's spreading like wildfire across Africa. All these nations in Africa have not been able to trade with each other because of the artificial boundaries and borders that were put in place after World War I, all the carving up of the regions, all the empires, all the various fuckery that goes on. Well, now they're saying, you know what, we're just going to trade with each other. It's unconfiscatable. You can't censor it. Fuck you. Right? And that's a hugely entrepreneurial population that's going to explode in value. And how many people here, put up your hand, and you're talking to somebody, a friend of yours, and they're saying, you know what, I live in Canada, I live in Australia, I live in America, and I'm moving. I'm leaving. How many? Right? The smart, the best, the brightest are leaving. They're leaving Australia, Canada, and the United States. And the UK. Plague Island, as it's known. And they're going to places where there's opportunity still, where there's going to be a Bitcoin standard, where there's going to be Bitcoin legal tender. You can, where sovereignty, you go where your money is respected. And then we're seeing that right now. It's going to have a brain drain right in the United States. Let's talk about another fantastic thing that's happening in El Salvador as it relates to energy and Bitcoin. And this discussion about energy and Bitcoin. Does Bitcoin use too much energy? Is Bitcoin a waste of energy? Here in El Salvador, energy usage is going up and their carbon footprint is going down. Bitcoin is the greenest energy ever been invented in the history of the world because it's totally an efficient way to convert energy into the hardest money known to mankind, give it to people, it's unconfiscatable wealth, it's uncensorable transactions, and suddenly people start to think in terms of, you know what, these wars are a big waste of money. This rat race is a big waste of money. Supporting the banks and the central banks is a big waste of money. Suddenly, everybody has a sense of individual sovereignty. Everybody has a sense that what I call basically the monetization of love and the demonetization of war. And I think we're going to see that in Latin America, and we see that in Bitcoin, as Bitcoin is essentially a 51% attack on the global energy supply. In the near-term future, 51% of all the energy being produced in the world will be dedicated to Bitcoin. There's approximately 70 terahash of energy per year. I haven't looked at that number in a couple of days, but nevertheless, as Bitcoin makes inroads into greater and greater adoption, more and more central banks start hoarding it and mining it, we start to see a transformation in the economy away from everything required to keep the fiat money world afloat. I mean, look what happened to Saddam Hussein. He tried to get out of the US dollar and go to pricing oil and something other than dollars, the euro. They fucking killed him. And they killed 500,000 innocent Iraqis. That's just to support the dollar. Look what happened to Gaddafi in Libya. He wanted to bring gold in as legal tender. The US walked in there, Victoria Nuland and her friends. They fucking raped him in public with a broom handle. Said, don't anybody try this ever again. That's the US. That's our country. That's what this stuff represents. Anal rape. Fuck anal rape. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need this stuff. This is slave money. This is for people who enjoy violence, who promote violence. They promote hatred. We don't need it. Bitcoin account goes up by another 50 million. I'll tell you that. They say causation is not, related, but that's why I keep ripping this stuff up. I'm afraid not to rip it up at this point. I'm going to rip up more. Give me more to rip up. I'll rip up yours, and I promise you'll make money too. As a matter of fact, I'll sign this afterward, and you can sell it on eBay for more than $1. So I'm adding value. I'm adding value. What else? What do you know about the Bitcoin singularity? Do you know about it? You heard about it? The Bitcoin singularity is essentially, I met Satoshi. He's Craig Wright Satoshi. Obviously, that's not, he's the only person that we can safely say is not Satoshi. And here, I'll tell you the secret. I've been in the Bitcoin game for quite some time. I actually know why Satoshi is anonymous. I'll tell you here right now. He comes from the future. And therefore, he's anonymous because he's coming at us from the future. And we have not yet arrived at Satoshi. We are moving toward Satoshi. We are moving toward the Bitcoin singularity. And when we get there, we're going to have a massive orgy. There's going to be one global game of Twister, and I'm supplying the olive oil. It's when all differentiations between us disappear. It's when that ego, the Freudian ego, evaporates, and we just get down as one. Where we came from, we were one through many, many, many countries, too many tribes. But we're all going back to one because of Bitcoin. And because anywhere, anytime, anywhere, anybody wants to transact with anyone else in the world, they're completely do so in an uncensorable manner with the hardest money known ever in the universe, and nobody can stop them. So you and I never met you, but I can transact with you instantaneously right now over something that we suddenly agree on because we're having a communal experience. We're having a communal experience. We can transact communally together without any fear of anyone coming around and taking our wealth, taking what is ours, and taking our belief, taking who we are, taking our ability for self-expression. We all want to express ourselves. We all want to be who we are. But we're all co-opted by the gangsters and the banksters and the system to be somebody who we're not. And that's painful. That's anxiety-provoking. And it makes us feel different than Christine Lagarde, that French cunt. Where's my Christine Lagarde? Fortunately, she's here. Ladies and gentlemen, Christine Lagarde.
Allô? Je m'appelle Christine Lagarde. Je suis chef de SCP. Et tous les jours, j'aime bien imprimer l'argent. Ça, c'est bien pour tout. Tous les problèmes et nos problèmes parce que je suis Christine Lagarde et j'ai pris l'argent. Oui.
Thank you, Christine, for that informed. Before I forget, this is the new Bitcoin magazine entitled Bitcoin is Toxic as Fuck. It's on page 79. Check it out. And I describe that Bitcoin is not a reaction to the financial crisis of 2008. Bitcoin already being discounted in the memosphere by the bankers who started to get frightened and started to take money out of the system because they feel the jig was up. It was that lack of liquidity came, but insolvency and the crisis. And how did the central banks meet that crisis? They printed a lot more money. They expanded credit. They lowered standards. And they made this 2021-2022 period where you're going to have part two of the crisis unfolding in a catastrophic and horrendous way. Speaking of Bukele, who... Hello, cat. Hello. Hello. Hello, little cat. It's a cute little cat. How are you? I'm almost sure this cat will attack me and scratch my eyes out. No, it ran away. Okay. So here's a quote. Whoever can guess who said this gets a prize. Quote, history records that the money changers have used every form of abuse, intrigue, deceit, and violent means possible to maintain control over governments by controlling money and its issuance. Who said it? Who said that? James Madison, one of the founding fathers of the United States. Also the inspiration for a popular brand of ice cream. So this is the same thing over and over again in history. When the bankers get too powerful, there's an insurrection. When inflation gets too much, there's an insurrection. There's a magic formula in economics. When 40% of the income of the population goes to food, there tends to be an insurrection. We saw that with the French Revolution, and we saw that in the Arab Spring. You had the price of food skyrocketed, and there was an overthrow of the government. Right now in the United States, that number is approaching 25, 26%. With the current rate of inflation as we see it now, and the money printing and all the policies that are coming out to address inflation by printing more money, we could very well get to that 40% number. And history tells us that that is the beginning of an insurrection. That is the beginning of a coup. Not a fake coup, like in 2016, built on lies, but a real coup, where the people actually organize themselves, go down to the State Department in the Capitol building, and do it for real, because they're starving. And that's what the policymakers don't care about. They don't care if you're starving. They don't care if you're broke. They don't care if your money is worthless. They don't care. They don't care at all. And they're forcing a response. It's really, really sad. They're forcing a response. I have my money on Bitcoin, and I have my money on the people who brought us this mess, meeting a very untimely and tragic end. Oh, yeah, sure, give it up. Give it up for the reign of terror. Yeah. Yeah, reign of terror, baby. That's what I love about the French. They weren't fooling around. They decapitated 30,000 bankers. They're fucking serious. In the Place de Concorde in Paris, that was just, okay, like 2,000 or 3,000. But across the whole nation, they took 30,000 of those cunts. They brought him down to the guillotine, which they invented just for the purpose of decapitating the monarchy. It was the technology of the day. And they lopped off 30,000 heads. And they cleansed the system. So, this is what happens when the entrenched oligarchy gets a little ahead of itself, gets a little bit too ballsy, gets a little bit too money printing. We have also, what do we else got? Oh, I talked about the insurrection. Oh, here's a good quote. If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, infinite. William Blake. Close. We've got the right to print money. Warren Buffett. Here's one from Senator Sherrod Brown. There's nothing democratic or transparent about a shady, diffuse network of online funny money. He called for smart regulations that protect consumers from crypto extortionists and their phony populist marketing. You can just see it. They're just hanging themselves. It's not like we're going to forget. It's on the internet, you fucking idiot. Keep talking. It won't be long. Let's see what else. Here's an interesting. Gold allows the transfer of value through time, but not so easily through space. Fiat is not good transferring value through time, but it's useful for transferring through space. Bitcoin is transferable through time and space. The future of money is here. Right on. Right on. Right on. Here's some, Stacy and I have been doing our show for 13 years, and we've done about 1,800 episodes. And we started covering Bitcoin in 2011 at $1, and it's also it's dubbed into Spanish, and it's huge all over the Spanish-speaking world. And here are some of the things we introduced to the world, aside from Bitcoin, which we introduced to the world in 2011. We introduced the term Cantillionaire, which is the idea that the elites, so-called elites, are wealthy through the Cantillon effect. The governments print tons of money. They get it first. They buy assets. It trickles. What's going on over here?
Quaw, quaw, quaw.
All right. I hear you. They want me to take my pants off. I introduced the idea of interest rate apartheid. So interest rate apartheid is very simply this. If you're a friend of Goldman Sachs, you can borrow money at 0%. If you're not a friend of Goldman Sachs, you're paying 16, 17% on your credit card, or 50% on your overnight lending loan, right? So the Bantustans are those people who live in the credit card world. So you're starting every month down 17% in the hole, and you got to borrow money to get your way out, and you never get out. So you're essentially, it's interest rate apartheid. It's an apartheid system. It's invisible. It's through interest rates. But, they've been saying that, interest rates need to be low for years. And they say that when we see inflation, we're going to raise rates. Well, inflation is running rampant. They should be raising rates to defend the currency and our purchasing power, but they don't because they are engaged in interest rate apartheid because they're apartheid regime. They don't give a shit. We also said the Bitcoin derangement syndrome. I think we were the first to mention that. This is some people who get Bitcoin early on, they actually go insane. You got the Roger Veres, the Wrights, John McAfee. Some people, you're lucky if you can get Bitcoin and look at it without going insane. Some people look at the Bitcoin protocol and it's so beautiful and it's so elegant that it actually knocks their consciousness back into the levels of insanity. So if you're not insane, some people will say, oh, I missed Bitcoin. I wish I got it earlier. If you did get it earlier, you may have gone insane. How do you like that? Pat yourself on the back. You're not a homicidal maniac. All righty. Bitcoin has no top because fiat has no bottom. Right? We coined that phrase a few years ago. So people say, well, where's the top for Bitcoin? Where's it going? How high can it go? It can go to infinity because priced in fiat money, the fiat money is going to go to zero. It's all going to go to zero against Bitcoin. So there is no top to Bitcoin. It's going to go up and up and up and up and up against fiat money. And we're taking our freedom back. We don't need your permission. That's true. Jack Dorsey, a lot of people don't like him. A lot of people like him. He did say, however, I'm not trying to make money. I'm trying to fix money. That's true. The Bitcoin volatility, well, one Bitcoin always equals one Bitcoin. So yeah, there is no volatility. The purchasing power for Bitcoin never goes down. It's mathematically certain to increase. The purchasing power of fiat money is mathematically guaranteed to go down. The purchasing power of Bitcoin is mathematically certain to go up. The purchasing power of gold is mathematically certain to stay the same, to stay abreast of inflation. So are you willing to accept a little volatility for a mathematical guarantee your purchasing power is going up? Or would you like to have no volatility and a guarantee that your purchasing power is going to go down? How many want their purchasing power to go down? Raise your hand. Okay. All right. Fortunately, you didn't get Bitcoin too early and you didn't go insane. But there's still a few steps to come along to get. It's good, though. Very good. Very, very good. No problem. How about this? Let's say you're God and you created the universe and everything in it and the multiverse, and you create everything we know here today and the solar system and whatever, the observable universe. And then you go away and you go to one of the other multiversal places and you're doing stuff. And you said, I'm going to come back. I'm going to check in on Earth and see how they're doing. So you go, open the cosmic portal. What's happening on Earth? Holy shit. They've really fucked everything up down there. Look what they've done to my creation. It's on fire. And they've got paper money. Oh, my God. This is a disaster. They're going to go extinct. Well, what do you do if you're God and you want to save us? You got a couple of choices. Number one, you could send down your only son, but he tried that already and it didn't work. Choice number two. It seems that greed is the killer down there. People are too greedy. How can I turn greed into something good? I know. I'm going to create this Bitcoin protocol, and the more people greedily amass it, the harder it gets, the more secure it gets, the higher the number goes, and the more all that despicable fiat money gets turned into it. Because God is hacking us. He's playing us. Nobody seems to believe me. You believe me. Look around you. Look at the power. The jungle. It's not random. It's not random that we're here. It's not random that El Salvador was the savior. Right on. Right on, right on, right on, right on. Right on. Here's another good quote. Bitcoin is the discovery of absolutely scarce synthetic digital commodity. Everything else, you can only discover absolutely scarce synthetic digital commodity once. You cannot discover it twice. Everything that comes after Bitcoin is not Bitcoin. And it'll never compete with Bitcoin because it's not absolutely scarce digital synthetic commodity. You can only discover that once. All shitcoins will go to zero against Bitcoin. Gold goes to zero against Bitcoin. Fiat money goes to zero against Bitcoin. Stack sats, hodl Bitcoin, and let Bitcoin do for you what you can't do for yourself. Get stinking rich. Yeah. Peter Schiff. Gold 10-year performance down 3%. Bitcoin's 10-year performance up 469,000%. All righty. Well, like I said, the blocks keep coming. Like the waves keep coming, the blocks keep coming. Every 10 minutes, TikTok, new block. And it's synchronizing everything. It's monetizing love. It's demonetizing hate. We're all going to be essentially traveling through the Bitcoin singularity, where your ability to express yourself and be who you are and be who you want to be will be manifested and preserved for eternity on the blockchain. And once again, we can hold our heads up high and say, God damn it, I'm human. With that, I thank you so much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the presentation of the posters, I bring back Stacy Herbert.
All right. That was Max Keiser. Right. So I want to thank our hosts, Bitcoin Magazine, are sponsoring the live stream, and they're giving away 4 tickets to Bitcoin 2022. So if you want to enter that competition, it's Naked Twister. Who's up for it? Only 2 people raised their hands. So those are the 2 people that will win the tickets. Also, you know, Fold app, they are Fold Card in the United States, and they're coming around the world soon. They are giving away some sats tonight as well. I picked up this as an example, and it's a winning coaster. It has an orange pill on the back, and I guess you win some sats with it. I'm going to throw it out there. Don't start a stampede. Somebody won some sats with that. And again, we're auctioning off these posters. There's only 20 of them that we made. And, you know, I guess come to me. I've got a Bitcoin wallet here. Any funds raised from this will go to the children, the Daughters of the Seed, Hijas del Mar. And we've already raised online 210,000 Satoshis for them. So that's like 1,125 Fiat cuck bucks. And that's already raised so far just from Twitter. So I will also have a wallet up here if you want to donate to them. It's a great cause. And we're auctioning off these limited edition posters. The young woman, Estrella, a star surfer, she saw this and she said, Max surfs like an old lady. So she is a star, up and coming from El Zante, and the Hijas del Mar helped train her she's actually going to be competing. Well, she's hoping to compete in the World Championships. And, you know, thank you, El Zante, and thank you, El Salvador, for having all of us toxic Bitcoiners down here. And it's been a great time. So thank you, everybody. I think the DJ will start up again. It was whoever the DJ is pretty amazing. So everybody dance, sing, have fun. We're going to auction off these tickets. I'm going to pick some names randomly out of the hat of all the people who bought tickets. So we'll let you know when you later in the night, not on the live stream, save you from OPSEC. You know, who won the tickets for the Bitcoin 2022? Everybody up for winning the tickets for Bitcoin 2022? Yeah. These guys won one last time in Austin, so they're here. But thanks a lot for coming, and thanks for joining the live stream, and thanks for being here, and thank you, El Salvador. Go drink.